Welcome everybody to another episode of the Link to the Past Randomizer Spoiler Log Tournament. I am SnX, here with you this fine evening with the race between JamesFnX and Olhaado. JamesFnX being a runner actually in the previous Spoiler Log Tournament that occurred last year, and Olhaado being not new to the randomizer scene, but will be his first Spoiler Log Tournament. I am looking forward to this matchup. Yeah, we're gonna get started here in about 30 seconds. Our crystals for this evening are our pendant and the medallion required for Misery Mire and Turtle Rock are at the bottom of the tracker. We have a double ether this time around with a green pendant at Turtle Rock, pendants also at Desert Palace and Pod, with our 5-6 crystals being Thieves Town and Tower of Heron. So we should be getting started here in just a second. The 15-minute spoiler log study period has expired. They're off. And they're just going to grab a little bit of money out of this chest. We're going to have to decide, see what they're going to do. I'm doing this one a little differently tonight. I'm going to go ahead and I'm not looking at the log at all until it's apparent we're not going to be getting something, so I can fill the rest of you in there might be watching tonight. There must be something at, there must be something here in Escape that we're going to want here. More money. I'm not sure if that's like for convenience later down the road, or if we're looking at Zora. And some bombs. Hey, you know what? Actually, this isn't too bad, right? Especially if you're going to have to do an early Kakariko, which it looks like they might be doing. Olhaado is leaving. Is he going to be going straight into... Yeah, he is going straight into Escape. Whereas JamesFnX decided just to go ahead and head his way to Kakariko. Olhaado only has 3 bombs. Is going to bail. Okay. Greens, everyone. It is almost Saturday, but not quite yet. At least in the United States. Can't speak to other parts of the world. We just got ourselves some late night rando here, some spoiler log action, and there's our hook shot. So spoiler log. So basically, for the 15 minutes, both of our runners had access to the spoiler log, and they still have access to it. But they got 15 minutes to study the log and plan a route and figure out how they're going to basically tackle this seed and how they're going to play it. These are very short races. They're very execution heavy. Not a whole lot of room for error in them. You're going to end up dying a lot just because you're going to maybe underestimate the amount of safety items you need to get. That's just kind of the nature of the beast. So JamesFnX is going into Blind's hideout. There are probably some items here. There's our Moon Pearl and a sword. He's going to go ahead and grab yet another sword. It's a loaded... I could see why James decided just to go here immediately. Sometimes a valid strategy in a spoiler race is to really put off Kakariko until you have Dark World access. And then what you do is you just kind of do Kakariko, go to the Dark World, and then you go ahead and do Village of Outcasts and all that, all in one swoop. In this case, though, yeah, James knows that the back there does not have anything. And it's our flute. This is like crazy. This is a very nice opening. We're going to be hearing some duck songs here in just a second. So Silverbane is asking in chat, so it's still a basic 7.7 open mode? Yes. Yep, it is a basic 7.7 open. The spoiler log that the runners are provided isn't the same as you would get if you went to the website and just generated a game and downloaded the spoiler. It has a few quality of life enhancements. Some things are reordered to make more sense. There's a book, by the way. The mascot of this tournament. So the spoiler log also has a bit more information. It'll tell you the contents of all the tree pulls. So you can identify if pulling the tree is going to be a good idea. The same thing with the bush crab. It'll also tell you the stun prize. And finally, you'll also be told what the fish save is. You'll even get like something where you'll even know like the number of digging game digs are required. Just because we just threw that in there just for kicks. That's weird. Alright, so with that hook shot, that kind of opens up everything here in Death Mountain. Well, so some runners, what they'll do is when they're studying the log, they'll just say, oh, alright, Paradox Cave has items I need. And then that's like the extent of how they'll remember what's going on. Some other runners, they'll be more deliberate about exactly what chests they pick up. Both strategies have merits. And it's going to scout this out for, realizing, I don't need to scout this. Muscle memory can be a real thing to combat. Yeah, James just knows that, he's going to have to grab whatever's here. So, question in chat, do you still have to know weird names nobody's used in commentary for 2 years, like DM's room? Yes, you do. There's our shovel, by the way. That's cool. Olhaado is going through desert, is going to go to the desert ledge here. There's something here that must be interesting. And, there's our glove. So yeah, the spoiler log, it's going to have like basically the meme names that the community kind of settled upon. On the in the ALTTP Randomizer Discord and also in the spoiler log Discord, we have a document pinned by I Have No Name that has pictures of all 216 locations and what their names would be in the spoiler log. That's a pretty valuable resource while practicing these. We have another question chat. What's considered a strong type for completion? That can also vary a little bit based off of the seed type. Generally, for a spoiler log race where you get only a 15-minute study period, if you can sub 50, that's like S tier, like amazing. Like you got good luck with the seed, plus you executed it really well. 1 hour is probably like that goal time you kind of want to aim for, but anywhere up to about an hour 10 is also pretty good. Once you get past like the hour 10 mark is where things start a little dicey, and maybe there's time that you can save. Yeah, that's the long answer. Like sub 50 is like the PogChamp time. Alright, so I thought we've got what we want out of Death Mountain. James is now gonna go ahead and grab the other glove. Yeah, Chad, if you have any other questions you want to ask about spoiler log races, I'm here all night. I'm happy to answer them. It's my thing. Both runners fairly on par with their safeties. Both deciding to grab the same hearts for the most part. Yeah, both on 7 hearts right now. Pretty much made the same decisions. Olhaado decided to go for desert first to grab the gloves first. Do gloves first out of desert ledge, whereas JamesFnX went to Paradox Cave for the gloves first. So now they're kind of trading spaces or trading places, so to speak, and they're going to be getting kind of what each other decided to get earlier. So that's our Dark World access for both players. And now we're going to see the shovel turn in. Yeah. This is actually probably, yeah, there's something here. Based on how Olhaado is routing this, sounds like there is. And then we have the bow sitting on shovel spot. So that shovel was definitely required. He had to go for it. So, all right. So there's our fire rod. Whereas JamesFnX is going to have to grab that on a second trip to the mountain. And some more safety in Hookshot Cave from the looks of it. Knows exactly the 2 chests he wants. And there's a red cane as well. Yeah, this is actually probably, without knowing anything about like what else is in the spoiler log, this seems like was probably more efficient play to make. Because now Olhaado isn't going to have to come up to the mountain until it's time for Ganon's Tower. Unless he has to go into Turtle Rock for some reason. It's still far too early in the race to say anything more beyond that, of course. So Olhaado is an escape. He's making this play that he was wanting to make earlier, but really couldn't because he only had 3 bombs and nothing else for offense. You need more than 3 bombs to get through here. So for those just tuning in, this is a race in the ALTTPR spoiler log tournament between JamesFnX and Olhaado. This is the first round of a 7 weeks of Swiss. Basically, each player will be playing one other person once per week, and the person they're playing against each week will be based on the record based on their record, right? So the winner of this race will get paired against another player who won their race the previous week. And then the loser of this race, or the runner-up, is going to be playing against somebody else who also lost their round 1 race the previous week. So James is only on 2 hearts, has to be just a little careful. No on 3, so that's a little bit better. Olhaado is going to now be making his way over to Thieves Town. Yeah, I realize he got that flute. Kind of put that to use. Another question, chat. How many players in this tournament? We got 64 players. The tournament. So registration for this tournament opened up about a month ago. And then from there, we filled up pretty quick and had a decent wait list. We had some people drop out, but ultimately we got back down to 64 players. All right, so James is going to be fighting Blind. This is a pretty standard fight as long as you tackle it the same way, but it looks like the script was broken. So now this is gonna, you gotta be careful, and that is unfortunate. Yeah, it is going to bail on this. I suspect that probably Blind doesn't have anything. He just needed the crystal. Come back later with more offense, especially now that you can't actually do the script. Or at least it's a lot harder to do. Olhaado is making his way through. Making his way through Skull Woods. It's gonna have just a little under a half a bar of magic. Actually, a little less than that. Is out of fire rod shots. Is now going to have to do some spins and slashes against Mothville with the Master Sword. I can maybe see why James maybe decided to put this off. Maybe wanted to wait to get a little deeper in the seed before getting the fire rod and having to do this fight. All right, he's on a half a heart. It's unfortunate. So spoiler log races can be a fairly brutal form of racing ALTTPR. Mostly because you're going to be really tempted to skip a lot of safety items that you normally would have in a normal blind race. This means that you're probably going to end up with a lot of deaths. You know what? That's cool. That's fine. That's just the way it works. This format is really a race against yourself. And being able to kind of figure out what you think your skill level is and being able to balance all that out. It's really hard to do fast. You'd think that like having the spoiler log in front of you makes things easy. It's like, oh no, I know where everything's at, right? I don't have to go searching. But when you race it, when you add a timed element, that changes everything. Like a lot of things, right? So if you play like a normal video game, you just like play it casually. Well, it's like, all right, whatever, right? But once you add that timed element, and if you're racing somebody else, then it becomes a whole nother story. All right, so James is, so there has to be probably something on the left side here, or the right side. Has no arrows, so it's gonna have to, there's 5 under this pot here, yeah. Gonna need that to deal with these mimics. That's another That's another thing of spoiler log races is resource management. It can be very easy to run out of bombs and arrows because you're not going for them, right? They're normally quote unquote junk, but they can be very much important. Oh, and there's our boots. Impendant Pod is going to bail on this engine after getting those boots. In this case, they may be required, especially if we're going for the boots locations here. And there's the ether medallion that we need for this seed. Spoiler log races are also a fairly niche thing. There's just some people just don't like playing them. And I totally understand that, and I totally get it. They're not for everybody. So yeah, if you see some names missing from that tournament, that could easily be why from this tournament. So I'm not too concerned about it. It's even more niche than cross keys. That is, yeah. So blue cane, that's a nice safety item to have. So right now, what's happened between the two runners, there's really no good way of kind of telling who's ahead. It's kind of, things have happened on both sides, right? So figuring out kind of from there what's going on, it can be kind of tricky. Olhaado did pick up a mushroom somewhere. Not sure exactly where. Can set up a fake powder with that, which could be pretty helpful if something is on Magic Bat and you see that the powder is just completely inaccessible. Olhaado is now going to be fighting blind. Is lining up to get the script. Phase 1 appears to be alright. Right. So it's off script now. He should be alright though. Has a few hearts left. Needs 2 more slashes. And down goes blind. Going to be claiming crystal number 1 of this race, and that's also going to be one of our 5-6 crystals. So this dark room is technically in logic because of the fire rod that Olhaado found earlier. Both runners also opting to go for the bottle on Stumpede. Might be something at Sick Kid. We'll find out. Alright. Still working his way through this dark room. There's like a pod that's going to be in his way. There he goes. He finds the stairs. He's out of there. He's going to farm more arrows out of pots. Now, based on this, the amount of health our players are going for, and without finding a male upgrade yet, it's very likely that both of our male upgrades might be completely out of the way. So Olhaado is making his way over to pod. Olhaado does have blue mail. All right. I missed that. All right, that was on the bottle merchant. Also, does James have... James does have hammer. Okay. It's just not on the tracker. All right, we good. I was like... I thought I saw he had it, but we got confirmation. Here. Oh, by the way, shout outs to our tracker tonight, Yoink, Yoinker's wife. It's been here for a lot of our tournaments, and it's been really great, a great person to have doing these. Like, without our trackers and other crew members, we wouldn't be able to present these races to you. So their skills and their time and effort is very much appreciated. All right, Olhaado claiming the bow. So I think what happened was that Olhaado tried to go into pod without a bow. Does that sound right? And couldn't get to where he wanted to go. Because he didn't have the bow and he didn't have a potion to potion glitch past the mimics, and probably didn't know how to mimic clip. I didn't quite see what was going on there. Alright, so James is also getting caught up on the items that are here in Dark Death Mountain. And is continuing. There might be more to this picture. Lionel, please. Only 2 hearts. Does have a full magic... Or does have a full magic bar. So might be able to sneak through here. Yeah, it should be alright. There we go. And there's our mirror. Yeah, and just have to get out of here. Yeah, 1 full magic bar is necessary with Berna. Alright, Olhaado is also working through Eastern Palace. He's going to be finding Armos Knights here pretty soon. And James is going through Escape. It is going to be picking up some of those items that Olhaado already had gotten. Both players kind of retrace each other's steps. Yeah, once you got your Dark World access in the seed, it was fairly non-linear. You could kind of do things somewhat in the order you wanted to do them, which is kind of nice. And Olhaado claiming his crystal number 2 of the match. Now, I'm going to speculate here based on each other's routes. I haven't only taken a big look at the log here. But it's looking like probably Tower Hera has nothing, based on the fact that we haven't gone in there yet. So runners, what they'll want to do typically is put off Tower of Hera for absolute last. They'll do that just before going into Ganon's Tower. Something you don't see a whole lot of in regular rando races because you're going to be looking for progression there. But if you know what's already in there, you can generally put it off. We're going to get a 2-pot strategy, or a 1-pot strategy and some slashes. And Olhaado is now going to go ahead and cherry pick those boots out of pod. Murder Dactyl, please. Alright, there we go. Alright, so... Hey, by the way, we have all the equipment for Swamp Palace. Pretty beautiful. Everybody's favorite dungeon. And the Explorer race, it's actually not that bad. Because, like, you don't have to, like, deal with, like, issues with... Am I going to dip left side swamp? Am I going to leave it behind? Yada, yada, yada. You're going to know if you have to do LSS. And with Diver down, LSS isn't nearly as bad. It's still a big time investment, but here at least you know that if you have to do left side swamp, your opponent has to do it too. So it's not that big of a deal. Alright, so for those just joining us, this is the Link to the Past Randomizer Spoiler Log Tournament. This is week 1 of 7 weeks of Swiss. We have a match here between JamesFnX and Olhaado. Both runners got 15 minutes of study time to look at the spoiler log. They can still reference it throughout the race, but they got 15 minutes before actually starting to play to dig through the log and figure out what they're going to do. And now they just have to execute on the routes that they created for themselves. James is right now working his way through Swamp Palace. Olhaado is going after these boots that we saw on James's side earlier. To kind of recap earlier, James did go into Thieves Town, did die, died on blind, decided to just kind of leave blind until later at this point. There was really, we saw on Olhaado's side, there was nothing really on blind. And Olhaado cherry picking the boots and getting out of there. Question in chat, why are the clocks different? So some runners, what they'll do is they'll set their timer to -15 in life split. So when the study period starts, they'll have it counting up from -15. And then once that hits 0 is when they're going to go. That's what James did, or he started his timer after the end of the study period. Olhaado actually started it at the beginning of the study period, which is why we have a difference in the timers. The timers are operated by the players. The timer I would probably go off of at this point would probably be James's timer. Hopefully that answers your question. Yeah. A little confusing. So like the way it works like behind the scenes is that in Speedruns Live, the race platform that we're using for this tournament, at least one of them, there's an option between SRL and racetime.gg. What happens is that the race starts in quotes. There's a sword. So we went into left side swamp for a couple items here that may be of importance. The tempered sword being a pretty good thing to have. And Olhaado also grabbing the mirror and getting out of there. We'll have to see if Olhaado goes for that third sword. Yeah, that lamp is also really... So with the fire rod, the lamp isn't... You have a fire source already, so it's just a matter of how comfortable you are with the dark rooms. That left side swamp was... Like, if you really needed a third sword... I don't know where the fourth sword is at. But if you needed a third sword, that left side swamp was probably pretty attractive. And it's especially attractive if you're not... If you rather not deal with dark rooms. Which looks like in James's case, it's kind of a double win. I suspect that if it was only the lamp there and not that sword, or vice versa, if there was a sword there but not a lamp, it may have been left behind. But there's just enough value there, I think, in James's mind to kind of value taking that play and going there. We'll have to see what Olhaado decides to do. No, I could be completely off base here because I'm not a mind reader. Alright, so... Gonna just go for some spins. Fairly safe strategy. Down goes Argus. That's gonna be crystal number 2 for James. With Olhaado hot on his heels. So right now, like based on James's loadout, I think that he has all the items he needs to actually beat the seed. We don't need Ice Rod this seed. We don't need either of the medallions. We're not going to need the cape based on what we've seen so far. So right now, I think James is going to be in cleanup mode. But Olhaado also going to be in cleanup mode as well here. And when James defeats Blind, they're going to be fairly tied up. So, looks like Olhaado is also going for left side swamp. Looks like it's going to go for diver down. So this is a trick where basically there's only water tiles at the entrance to that stairwell down to the lower level. the lower layer there. What you can do is, if you can clip into that rail at the right spot, when you hop in, the game doesn't put you in a spot where there's actually a water tile, and instead you'll just be able to walk around like normal. Yep, like that. Now he's gonna hop down. Nope, not quite. But like the advantage of this is that he'll just be able to grab that key out of that pot. There we go. So now he's basically on that lower level as if this is completely flooded still. And is now just going to be able to continue. Yeah, so right now the possible safeties could be James could go ahead and grab an armor upgrade. I don't think they will. I did look up where the armor upgrades are at, and I think our other one we're probably not going to see at this point. The other one would be fighting the second bow for silvers. But with the tempered sword, tempered silverless is not a bad time to have. Whereas master sword silverless is another animal. And like I said before, spoiler races are about kind of estimating your own skill and figuring out kind of where you feel like you should be at and what you should be grabbing in order to be successful. Another aspect of this is that both of our runners are able to view this restream. They can talk and chat. They can watch each other's streams. They can see what their opponent is doing if they choose to. Some choose not to, but some may. I think Olhaado is going to give us yet another diver down. All right, be careful there. All right, so James has maybe a couple of fire rod shots left. 2 or 3, I think 3 fire rod shots, but has temp sword, so I think this is going to be a much better time. And keep in mind is that Olhaado came here earlier, but ended up dying and ended up bailing. James needs to be careful though. I think he'll be all right. There we go. All right. So down goes Mothula. This will be crystal number 4 of the match. Just 3 more to go. Olhaado is fighting Argus. He's probably gonna go for the 1 cycle here. But there we go. And that'll be crystal number 3 on Olhaado's side. So James is going to go ahead and spend some of these extra rupees and grab a bottle here. Only has 1 bottle from the looks of it. But that blue potion might come in to save him later. Takes like maybe 30 seconds to grab. And not dying is a pretty big time save in a race. So grabbing that type of safety is pretty nice. So now we're gonna get Ice Palace. So Olhaado put this off until later. He's gonna go for the half magic, probably before going into Ice Palace. Half magic can be a pretty powerful upgrade. It can buy you like a lot of time that you normally wouldn't. Like gives you more room for error. especially with your magic usage. Whereas James is going to be on a tighter rope when it comes to magic usage, especially without the Bombos medallion. He's going to need a full magic meter in order to fight Cold Stare. So James is also going for a trick in Ice Palace called Icebreaker. Basically, it is a glitch. Yeah, you gotta watch your magic usage here. So basically, you have to line yourself up here. You're basically extending the door state. So door state is where when you're in the doorway, if you push like up or down in that horizontal doorway, you'll notice that you'll keep moving forward. Well, what this trick does is it basically fools the game into thinking that you're still in the doorway when you're not. So you keep moving forward, and when you keep moving forward, your collision is ignored, and you just go straight through the barrier. So right now, James is going to have to... I don't want to give too much of a hint here, but something's going to have to be done that will be seen. So Olhaado, I think, gave up on doing Icebreaker, and it's going to go ahead and do Ice Palace in the traditional manner with the Ice Palace bomb jump. All right. So James, yep. So he's going to go ahead and shoot. Is going to not have enough magic, and it's going to have to use that blue potion. So you have to get off 8 fire rod shots. That's an entire magic bar. But that blue potion is paying off, and it's going to claim crystal number 5. So Olhaado is on the last bomb. Does get the bomb jump. Is going to be able to continue here in Ice Palace. Alright, James grabbing another potion. Has 2 more dungeons left to do. Misery Mire and Tower of Hera. Is going to go for Misery Mire first. Olhaado, having half magic, is probably going to have just as much of a good time on Cold Stare. Won't have the benefit, I think, of the blue potion. I don't think you grab him. Yeah, he still has that B. But is at least only going to need half the magic bar. Now, a well-placed spin. Yeah. The power of half magic. And squeaks by with a half a heart, but gets Cold Stare down. That is a boss you don't really want to die to. So I'm glad to see that he was able to get through that without too much issue. So James is working through Misery Mire. Is going for this room to steal the key. which will pretty much unlock everything. Olhaado is low on bombs, doing like the heads up thing, right? So when you buy a capacity upgrade here at the ferry, you get a full refill out of it. So if you have 0 bombs, well, for $100 now you have 15 bombs. Another fun little trick. Basically, when the block is moving, it doesn't really exist, but yet it still exists at the same time. It basically gets turned into a sprite, and while it's moving, you can just fire a fire rod shot straight through it. All right, Olhaado is now going for Misery Mire. And James finding the big key in its vanilla location. And since both of our runners did decide to do left side swamp for the lamp, this is going to be an easier time. If our runners decided to skip it, we'd have to contend with these dark rooms. These are probably, except for maybe the second half of Aga Tower, these can be some pretty rough dark rooms. So James has 10 hearts, 11 total. That's enough to use NMG strat, at least a little bit. But it does have blue cane, so you could start off with some NMG strats, where you basically take damage off of the slime to get iframes, and then you use that to be able to get in here, and then now is just going to do some dashes through these eyeballs using the invincibility from Burna. And then 8 arrows to the eye, and down goes Vitreous. Olhaado is picking up. So on James's heels here, is going to be grabbing that big key as well and making his way to Vitreous. That'll be crystal number 6 now for James. Yeah. So to kind of sum up what happened, Olhaado died to Mothula. So right now, Olhaado is gonna have to go back to Skullwoods, excuse me, and fight Mothula again. James had died to blind, but it already made up that. Right now, I think on James's side, we might be looking at like, I don't know. Actually, I think it's too early to speculate on time. We still have a lot to clear. We can skip Turtle Rock this race. We're not going to be going into there. But we will need Dark World access. So Olhaado is also going to be doing just some Burna dash It's a pretty efficient way to do this boss if you have the equipment. And James is going into Tower Hera. This is going to be a pretty straightforward. Probably looking at a key in the basement. Isn't going to go for Hera Pop, which is fine. Of probably all the new glitch discoveries, Herapot's probably going to be making the most amount of difference in spoiler races, because the odds of you coming in here, like, this is probably going to be your last dungeon in a lot of races, and you're already going to have the prerequisite equipment. Whereas in a blind run, you may have a scenario where you're going to be running into this dungeon a lot earlier just to see if there's anything useful in here. And you may or may not have the hook shot at the time, depending on where your mirror placement's at. Alright, so Olhaado, yeah, he knows he has to go back in here and fight Mothula. This time a bit better equipped. He's going to have Tempered Sword, more hearts, blue mail. I mean, so far this seed's been pretty kind. There were 2 required dungeon dips, pendant dungeon dips. We did have to go into pod for just boots and only boots. Basically, just do like a bank heist type of a scenario where you just kind of go in, dip in, steal what you need, and then get out of there. And then Desert actually don't think had anything that was needed directly, but he had to go through Desert in order to get to the mitts or gloves, depending on how you route it. Alright, so Olhaado is fighting Mothula, take 2. Has half magic as well, which we'll have to see if any of these shots are registering. Alright, there we go. Alright, so James has crystal number 7. Olhaado has crystal number 6. James is going to be going into Ganon's tower. So for spoiler races, it doesn't really make sense to do number guessing. We don't run the bot or anything. But I still want to see what your predictions might be for that big key. Where do you think it might be? You don't got a whole lot more time here because you're going to be... James is going to be making some decisions in here that's going to narrow things down just a little bit. Alright, we have like a guess for Twin Firebar room, big key on the torch, Rando room, Stalfos room, bottom left. Alright. And... Alright, well, so right side is dead to us. So was the torch. Oh. Is it Dark Magician's room? There are silvers. That's a nice grab. Alright, he's gonna grab a couple of keys. Wait, is it right side? It's not Hope Room. It is not Tile Room today. Oh boy. It's Compass Room. We have a We have a prediction of compass bottom right. There's one. It's Cape. And there's our big key. We do have Cape, though. That's kind of nice. You don't care why if you were close enough. Bottom right, top left. They're like adjacent to each other, kind of. Yeah. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. And we have silvers as well. I don't know if like James is like going for the seed or if James decided to kind of go that route. Is like is like looking at like the restream or his opponent and has decided, hey, I'm ahead enough. Let's go ahead and grab those silvers just to be safe. And Olhaado has crystal number 7. And we're in the last room of the gauntlet. And we're out of there. And Olhaado is in. Hard to see if... Alright, Olhaado is maybe going for this. It depends. He might just want the keys. Because you're going to need at least one key for the top part of escape. Alright, it is going to continue. Yeah, so question in chat. How much time save in tempered silver versus tempered silverless? Yeah, somebody else answered. About 1 minute is probably the estimate there. I suspect that may have been skipped, depending on the some of the runners probably would have decided to skip those silvers. It would have been probably time neutral. So it'd be interesting to see what some other runners may have done. Like, the time save can also be realized if you can get the silver arrows before Vitreous, because silver arrows do save a lot of time on Vidi. Alright. So Olhaado is working his way through escape. Probably, I didn't do like a timing, but I think they're about 2 minutes apart from each other, roughly. So we've got 1. It's a double. So 3 more strikes to go. Gets denied the triple, unfortunately. And follows it up with another hit. And down goes Aga 2. Olhaado deciding to go for the safety room here. Kind of makes sense. There's a couple fairies in here, plus a full magic refill. At least wanted the fairy. Alright, and now we are fighting Ganon. Impa says that the mark on your hand means something, 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 blah, blah, blah. No time to read that. It's time to fight a boss. James is now on 1 heart. Needs to be careful. It's gonna have to dodge. It's gonna be 12 strikes with that tempered sword per phase. Now is in phase 2. Is getting several spins off. Is now going to use the cape to kind of not take damage. Also, you notice that James grabbed the wall there while the cape was active. It's a trick called Magic Cheapskate. Basically, while you're grabbing the wall with the cape active, it will not drain magic. It's kind of a cool little trick there. Well, grabbing anything, I think, actually. He also does have safety. He did grab a fairy out of Ice Palace that we haven't seen him use yet, and he did purchase another blue potion. So, all right. So, did miss Dorch glitch. Not a big deal. He is lined up maybe for a triple, probably only a double. But there's our 4th silver arrow hit. James only has a 1x3 bridge between him and victory. Get your GGs in chat for JamesFnX, our winner of this round 1 race of the Splitter Log tournament. And we are now joined by JamesFnX. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. Other than dying on blind, that was a decent little run.
Yeah, I think ultimately I don't think that set you back too much.
It didn't. I knew I had to come back there to Skull Woods after I got Fire Rod, so I wasn't going to beat my head against it. Once I died, I just moved on.
So, like, the seed early in kind of gave you an interesting decision, or I wouldn't say interesting, a decision on which glove to get first. You opted to go for the one that was in Paradox Cave. Your opponent actually went for Desert Ledge first. Why did you why did you go for that decision?
I knew I had to make 2 trips up to Death Mountain because of where the hammer was and having to get into Spike Cave. So I chose the one that I think actually looking at Olhaado's route was probably better in the end because he got to get Canis Mari and Fire Rod in 1 trip. So I think that in the end his route was better. I made the decision based on I knew I had to make 2 trips up there anyways, so it wouldn't hurt me that much to not get everything in 1 shot.
So, I'm bad at asking questions here, so bear with me. Overall, about how much of your route were you able to kind of get done during that 15-minute study period?
Everything other than double checking where I needed big keys and dungeons.
Yeah.
I noticed one thing with like a minute to go in my route. I had forgotten to route in. I'd forgotten to route in something. I think it was routing in flippers for swamp. So I had to find a place to do that. But everything else, this was a pretty easy seed. You didn't have to enter any of the pendant dungeons other than cutting through desert to go get the gloves. But so everything was pretty straightforward. It was a little kind of jumpy from place to place because of where certain items were at, like King's Tomb having an item and Spike Cave having an item. But there wasn't anything that really required a dungeon double dip or backtracking too far through one location or the other. Like you had to make 3 trips up to Death Mountain, and theoretically you could have done all of those routcasts in one trip. I saw Olhaado died in fighting Mothula, but he could have done that all in one trip. And I chose to do 2 in that one. So there were places where I could have been more efficient, but it was a pretty straightforward seed all around.
So you were taking a look at Olhaado.
Oh yeah.
During your run, yeah. How much do you think that factored into the decisions that you made?
The only really big decision is if he was well ahead of me and had not picked up silvers, I would pick up silvers. If it was close, I may have. If it was a little bit closer and he was ahead of me, I may have skipped it and just gone full right side. But there weren't a lot of decisions to be made in this seed, honestly, in terms of when or what to get, other than which glove to get first.
Yeah. All right, and Olhaado is also finished in second place, and this race is over. We'll go ahead and see if Olhaado wants to interview you as well. And we are now joined by Olhaado. Olhaado? Hopefully I was saying it right the entire time.
Olhaado? That sounded right to me, yeah.
All right, good. All right. I feel a bit better now. GG, sir.
GG's.
All right, so, that was a seed.
Sure was.
Yeah. We were talking about it a little bit. There wasn't a whole lot of decision making to make. There was one decision, and that was which glove to get first. Your opponent actually went for the one in Paradox Cave first.
Okay.
And you went for the one that was in Desert Ledge first. I just wonder if we wanted to chat about that a little bit.
Yeah, my thought was get that first so I could clear out everything else that was up on Dark Death Mountain, but I forgot I was going to have to come back later for the mirror anyway, so because it didn't really save me any time after all.
Yeah, I think the actual real decision point in this seed is how quickly both of us went for boots. I went... I died on blind. So I went to Tease Town as soon as I got Dark World access, and then died on blind, and then just made a beeline to the boots. And I had grabbed the bow before that. And I saw how you forgot to grab a bow before trying to get the boots. And
I did. I meant to do that shortly after... Right after I got the shovel, I had it on my list to do, and I just mentally skipped it.
Yeah, so I actually think that was like the big decision point, because I had boots like 7 or 8 minutes before you did.
Yeah. Yeah, and for me, I think I lost probably about 3 minutes all told dying to Moth the first time I went there, because as soon as I had Dark World, I went up to Moth first, and then did Thieves Town. But I died there, and I was just like, I'm not going to bother trying to get magic, I'll just come back later.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt after dying to Blind. Like, I had 8 hearts at the time, but I didn't want to like beat my head against Blind and die again and just get frustrated. And then there were boots very close to where I was at, so I was just going to do other things and come back because I knew I had to come back and do Mossel anyways.
Yeah. For me, I think the two big things that really, three things, I guess: dying to Moth, forgetting to grab the bow right away, and forgetting that I was going to have to go get the mirror at some point. I would have routed. I went to pod, realized I didn't have the bow, also realized I didn't have the mirror to do the quick pod over to Eastern. So that was a lot of time lost there.
Yeah. Notice you grabbed half magic too.
I was on my way to ice. I figured I'd just grab it just in case. I didn't want to, end up for some reason not having enough magic going into the Cold Stare fight.
Yeah, I ended up getting a potion before the Cold Stare fight and kind of messed up the Icebreaker, so I had to use it and then just grabbed another one before Meyer.
Yeah. My plan was to do Icebreaker, get that fairy in a bottle, so I had a second backup, and I just wasn't getting it fast enough, so I went the long way around. Used my last bomb on the Ice Palace bomb jump. That was stressful.
Oh, jeez.
That was pretty clutch. I can't lie.
Yeah. I was like, I can't believe it's taken me so many attempts on this, but it was definitely tense. This is my first time actually racing spoiler mode. I've played maybe 3 seeds before doing spoiler, so my first time actually in a race, I was definitely like getting jittery toward the end when I was watching for the dot done. Because I didn't have your stream up. I don't think I have the attention span, being this new to it, to keep track of all that.
Yeah, I peek over every once in a while and I have a little bit of downtime, like waiting for Meyer cutscene or fluting somewhere. Just to keep tabs and see if I need to grab another safety or something. I ended up grabbing like 8 pieces of heart along the way, something like that. And then I don't know how many hearts you ended up on.
I want to say it was like 8 or 9, something like that.
Yeah, I ended on 11.
All right. Yeah, I didn't go really out of my way for pieces of hearts. Everything I found was pretty much on the way.
Yeah, so same here. I think I like grabbed the one in flooded chest or the dam chest when I was there to do swamp to give me a refill. That was one of the things. Like I had a couple places where I could just get a free refill off of heart pieces, which was pretty nice.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And for my safeties, I went and got the blue cane just so that I could do a quick vitreous without having to worry about anything.
You need it for Spike Cave too, basically.
Yeah.
Which was funny. I was gonna do Spike Cave, get out, and then go to Hera. But I got bopped by the Lionels heading to Spike Cave and ended up on like 2 hearts heading in there. I had enough.
No.
I had enough burner to go get the mirror, but not enough to get out. So I just ended up having to save and quit, which is fine. I did Hera just before GT. So
yeah, that's where I kind of had planned to do it too. I just left that for the end.
Yeah, I was slightly worried that I wouldn't have enough magic to get through the whole cave and get the mirror, and that would have been very, very bad.
Yep. That would have been upsetting. And that was another reason I think I oh no, I had the mirror already at that point. Never mind. I was thinking that's maybe why I had gone to get the half magic, because I had thought about that at one point, but ended up skipping it at that time.
I honestly didn't even look for half magic on the spoiler. I normally don't even grab it unless it's on the way, but definitely would have been helpful here.
Yeah, it was like I was scrolling by looking at something else and it just caught the corner of my eye, and I was like, I'll throw it on here if it's convenient at any point. I'll grab it, and it kind of just was on my way over to Ice Palace. No, but GG's, that was a fun race.
Yeah, it was. GG's.
Oh, I enjoyed talking about it, so thank you.
Absolutely. I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah, you get to watch me talk to myself for an hour. It's gonna be great. So that concludes this race for tonight. This is the last race for this evening. There are a bunch of races planned for tomorrow. None of them have channels assigned yet based on the schedule. I would recommend checking out the schedule, see kind of the matches you may want to go see. We'll try to get as many broadcasts as we can, but this is the nature of how things work. Can't guarantee it all, but we'll try to bring as much spoiler log race action as we're able to you all. So yeah, we got six more weeks to this. This weekend we'll actually have all the races in a little early. Actually, it'll be nice. That makes me a little giddy inside to say that. Actually, everybody in the tournament so far has been great getting scheduling done and everything. It's awesome. But yeah, we'll have round 1 here all settled, and then we'll be able to figure out what our round 2 matches are. We have 7 full weeks of these, so there'll be more rando and spoiler log action to be had. Anyway, I think we're gonna wrap it up. Either of you have any final thoughts?
Not really. Just thank you for doing the restream, for doing the commentary. I don't know if we have a tracker for this, but if so, thank you for that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, Yoinker's wife was our tracker. Thank you so much. Keep the icons lit up so we know what's going on. Anyway, I think let's wrap it up here for the night. I'm SnX. Thanks for watching. Have a good night. See you.